I'm Hewie Poplock, and this is a class on Google Calendar. I did a session for the presentation meeting last month in June, and I have sent you the link to the video for that. And for those of you who are watching a rerun or a recording of this, it will be in the show notes below of the first presentation I did on Google Calendar. Today, I'm going to carry it a step further. I'm going to show you some things that if we decide to do something with this for STUG, Marshall will post on the website. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like on the website, and then I'll show him and those of you who are interested in how easy it is to add it to a website. And then we'll talk about getting some different calendars and how to do that. And then we'll have some questions and answers and hopefully some things that will help you. First of all, I would like to say I am no expert on Google Calendars. I use it. I've been using it for a long time. I have several calendars that I combine, and I do check it every day. I use it. But a lot of the things I set up and I never remembered. So doing these presentation is helping me, number one, recall how I set things up, and two, to learn some new things and to be able to explain to you some of these things. So as we go along, I may not have the answer to your question, but I will take notes and we'll try to get an answer for you if we can't do it today. Now, I know some of you use it. You may have some different uses and might be able to answer some of the questions that I can't. So to get started, what I want to show you is I'm going to share my screen. See, I don't need to share sound, so we'll just share the screen and minimize this and minimize this. Boy, I got a lot of things to minimize here, don't I? There we go. And let's see, Google Calendar. Okay, here is the Google Calendar that I'm playing with. It's a test calendar, and I call it STUG classes. And you'll notice that if I set it up with a time for a class, for instance, this one, I'm going to click on it, and it'll give you all of the information, but it's a set time from 1 to 2 p.m. You'll notice this one where it says send help desk reminder, that's in a bright color. Well, that's because I have it set up with no time on it, and I call it an all-day event. And I'll show you how you can set up any kind of an event to be either a set specific time or how I do it to make it go to the top to be an all-day event. So that's the only all-day event is on this calendar, but I have several items. Now, what I want to show you, and these were some of these things are things that I showed in the original STUG class or meeting that we had, presentation that I did. But what I want to show you is I'm going to go to that same calendar I have made available. I call it test calendar, and it's on my website. And you'll notice it's the exact same calendar. Now, if I gave the code, and I'll show you even what the code is in just a few minutes. If I gave that code to Marshall, all Marshall has to do is take that code and put it online. And when he does that, if I take, let's see how I want to do this. I am going to just take this out as make it a separate window. And so now I'm going to say, okay, let's do a side by side. We've got the calendar here, and then we've got my calendar here. So this is my calendar on my computer, and this is that same calendar sitting on a website. Move this out of the way. So what I want to show you is let's go ahead and put just something in on the 15th. Now, again, I can add a title to it. So let's just say it's and it isn't, but we're going to say Marshall presentation. And here's where I click all day, and that makes that an all day event and gives you the bright background and puts it to the top of the list. Or if I uncheck that, then I have to find a time, and I can either find a time, or I don't need to do that, which does not repeat. Oh, here's the time here. So let's say we're going to do that at 1 o'clock and make it to Marshall talks a lot, so we'll make it till 3 o'clock. And I'm going to say save. Okay, it's still not on this calendar. However, on this website, if I come up here, and it's, let's see, how am I going to do this? I got something that's blocking and I can't tell it to refresh. Anyone remember what the code, the keystroke is to refresh your screen? Drew, do you know? All right.
No, I just usually hit the circle.
Me too. That's what I do.
Okay. The circle is what we're talking about, is right here. And as soon as we do that, let me again bring it back up here and put it side by side and get it here. You'll see it's right there. So once we make this a page on the website, Marshall doesn't have to do a thing with it. As soon as we make an addition to the calendar, it automatically puts it on the website. So it's always up to date. You might have to refresh the screen, but usually if you go out and you do something else and then you come back, you open up the page, and it's going to be, it refreshes itself automatically. So that's a nice feature for Marshall, because once he puts the code on a page and you have a link to that page, nothing changes. He doesn't have to do a thing, because each month, and let's right now, let's go ahead and we'll full screen this. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you, because I want to show you some of the things when you're looking at the calendar. And of course, this works when it's on your desktop as well, to do these things. But notice we're by the month. You can be set by the week. And you can see that all the items for that week. And then I got to move my camera a little bit because it's right over the button. You can change that to any week, and it'll change whatever that week is. Or you can, let's see. Now, there was a way in which you can set it up where it actually will start on the day. And I don't know how I did that earlier, but anyway, I've got it set for a week. We go back to the month. It's like this. Now, where it says agenda here, when you do that, you get a list. And so this would be printable. So you could print a list of all you want. The one failing that the calendar has is the information about each of these things doesn't get printed when you do that, and it doesn't show on the calendar. You actually have to click on the item and you'll see information here. If you look here, there's more information and links and so on that I put in the description of the event. So I click it again, it goes away. If I click it here, it goes away. It's there. And again, if you come back to the monthly calendar, if I do the same thing, so if I go to Tech for Senior here, I can do the same thing and it opens up, shows me all the information about that event. The problem being, of course, that there's not enough room for the entire event name. So you got to kind of keep the important information at the beginning, because that's what you're going to see. And notice what I did. This is the times, but when I usually do put one at the top, what I do is a lot of times I'll put the hour that it starts in the title, so it will show up as well. Okay, let's see. And then, as I said, you can change by month, whatever you want, but by doing it here, you can go ahead and go backwards or forwards. And this is the same thing you can do on the calendar on your desktop. And if you're ahead and you want to hit today, it brings it back to today. Now, those same things, let's see, I think that's all I need to show you on the website. So let's come back to the calendar here. Oh, nuts. And we'll full screen this. So you can see in the calendar, it's the same information on your computer. You've got the arrows going back and forth. And you'll notice previous months and anything before today is grayed out. It's there. You don't lose it off the calendar, but you can go back many months and see what event was going on, or you can look in the future to see what events you have. And notice that Marshall's presentation is still on. Marshall, I hope you're getting prepared for that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is just the STUG classes calendar, but I'm able to connect to other calendars of my own or of other people's. So let's take a look. Here's my own, and you'll see it added a bunch. And notice the colors are gray on this. That's because I've got it set for gray. By clicking the three dots, you can change whatever color you want for that particular calendar. And so let's turn this one on. Let's turn this one on. Faces of the Moon, the Tampa Bay Rays, and Tech for Seniors. So all of a sudden now I got a pretty full calendar on here. Now, if we looked at the calendar on the website, that's not going to have all of this. That's still going to have just the one calendar. So bear that in mind. You can make your own information, and it's not and add the STUG classes, and it's not going to affect the website at all, except the people who have access to that particular calendar can make changes, but you won't be able to. But so let's see if there's some questions about what I just showed you, because that was pretty quick, but it gives you an idea of some of the things that you can do, but also how you can post it on a website, like on our website, and be able to share it with all of the members. So you don't have to send out a bunch of emails. Oh, this event is taking place. If they know to go to the calendar, it's there. You might want to send a reminder, but the fact that the reminder might be check the calendar and that sort of thing. Comments? Questions?
I've used it a couple of times for a larger group, and that's important when you've got 3 organizations that are coming together, as it allows you to then formulate a calendar for your groups and impacts, so that makes it, and then you can take it to another group if necessary. But the point is that it allows you to set meetings and know times of events, which is important. Hard to keep track of, and a color change is wonderful because it tells you right away before you look at it, it belongs to the other group. So yes.
And also husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, brother and sister, if you want to share your calendar with each other, you can do that, and that information is there.
Right. But not everybody's comfortable with doing that, so I always keep it to a smaller group. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Hewie,
Yeah, Caitlin.
are you saying that you have a STUG calendar that we can all have access to see what the latest stuff going on at STUG is?
It's just a test calendar to see if there's interest for us, and for Marshall to see how it's done, and for other members of the board to see how it's done, and see if I was hoping Jim Cerny would be here today. He had signed up so he could understand, because he's the one that takes care of the scheduling of the meetings and so on. So to see whether this would work with the system that he has, or if he wants to change the system. It's more to educate what can be done, not that we're going to do it.
But you may or may not do it in the future.
That's correct.
works.
But the
Okay, thank
potential
you.
is there for him to
Uh-huh.
post. That potential is there once they have a common place that they
Mhm.
want to put it, like Huey's spot. And then that way, everybody would be able to get to it. Easier to be able to look ahead. Yes.
And the ideal thing is one person can update the calendar and everybody has the same calendar.
Correct. But I always, like I said, I have a smaller group that can update it, and I have a larger group that can view it. So
Yeah, we're going to take a look.
otherwise,
We're going to take a look at a few of the settings and how you can have other people be a part of it as well.
And Hewie, would that be through the STUG website or through yours?
It'll be if we do it, it will be on the STUG website.
Okay,
That's
thanks.
why I wanted Marshall to be here to be able to see. Now, any other questions? If not, I'm going to, Dave?
I must have about 20 different calendars in my Google Calendar,
Okay.
and only certain ones are shareable. My wife, she sees certain things that I post, but some events that I put on are not getting shared, and I can't figure out what the differences are.
You have to make sure that you're putting it on a calendar that's shared with her. You may be putting it on and you see it, but she can't, that's not a calendar that she shares or is shared with her. And that happened a lot with Robin and I. Robin would add it to her calendar and I wouldn't see it because she put it on the wrong calendar. She put it on a different one that I was not a part of. So,
Resolve that.
so again, let me share my screen. And you'll notice over here, all of these other calendars, you can put whatever you want on a particular calendar. So I can turn off, and all I have is the text for senior calendar up there now. And if I have access to put it on there and I put it on there, I would see it. But anybody I shared my calendar or the STUG classes, they won't see it. So you have to make sure that when you add something to a calendar, that you're on that calendar.
that you're sharing.
That you're sharing, and so
But
they can see it.
Where is the setting to share?
Okay, let's see. That's not where I was going to go next, so I'm not sure the best way to do this. I've got an article. Let me do a couple of things first, and then I'll show you how to do that.
Sure.
Okay, show calendar. I'm looking at my list of things to cover for today, and things are on top of it. So I'm going to move a few things around. It's on my other screen. Google settings. Okay, how do I add a calendar to a website? Okay, the first thing I was going to do is show how I added it to my website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to edithuey.net. Now, every website is different, and I happen to use one that has some software that I get from GoDaddy, and they host it, and I'm using their software to create the website. So if I come down here and I go to the test calendar, come on. Let's change and then come back. Why isn't it going there? Well, okay. Should have gone. There we go. All right. It's running slow. Got a lot of things going on here too. All right. So here's the page. And when I go to, where is it here? I go to settings. in my settings, there's different things that I can do. One, I can make it look different, but this has got nothing to do with the calendar part, and every website's different, so it really doesn't matter. But what I can do here is I get some code, and I'm going to show you where I get that code from. But I have some code here. All I had to do is put that code in, the custom code, drop it in, and automatically that calendar is there. That's all I had to do. I had to create a page and then say, okay, I'm going to call it calendar, and I'm going to add this custom code to it. Bingo, I put the custom code in and it's there. Okay, so that's how I add it to the website. Now I want to go to Google settings. So let's see, we're here, close this. And I got to make sure which account I have this in. I have so many accounts that so let's go to the calendar. And finding the settings to this is difficult. You got to be in the calendar. Okay, and this is STUG classes, so I can turn this off and turn this off because this is the calendar we're working with. And if I come up here and go to the settings, the gear, and then go to the word settings, here's all your information of what you can do. What language, country, and time zone. Asked to update my primary time zone. Do I want my primary is Eastern time, so you can change the time zones and so on, and you can view certain options. You want to show weekends, you want to show declined events. That's if you're inviting other people and so on. Most of you won't be involved in that, where you're reserving rooms and that sort of thing, but you can do that with the program. Do you want to show week numbers? Is this week 34, week 52? And display shorter events, the same size as 30-minute events. Reduce the brightness of past events. And I've got that checked, and that's why it makes it so they're grayed out. And view calendar side by side in the day view, and have the week start. Some people like their week to start on Saturday. Some want them to start on Monday. And so you can do that. Set the custom view to 7 days, but it could be 5 days. It could be 2 days. Alternate calendars. So you can add some different languages if you want it. Events from Gmail. Show events automatically created by Gmail in my calendar, but I have it so it only shows to me. I don't know exactly how and what you do with that, but I've got it checked, and I think that was what the default was. And then offline. Now there's other things that you can look at, and what I want to look at is calendar, Google, we're there, settings, and then I want to come down here to STUG classes. When I do that, the calendar settings change to what I have. Then you can share with specific people. So if I wanted to share this calendar with Dave Gerber, I would just say add people. I would put in Dave's email in there. It would then send a notice to him. He would see it and accept it. And so then I am sharing it with him, and then he would see it on his screen, and he would be able to turn it on and off. So that's how you can share with specific people. And you can share what you want them to be able to see. You want them to be able to make changes to the events. So if it's your wife or your husband, you may want to say, okay, you can make changes to mine as well, or on this calendar. So you want to be able to give them permission to do that. Or you can just see all events, make changes to events, make changes and manage sharing. So and then see only free or busy and hide details. So there's different settings you can have as you share with other people. Event notifications. Now, if you add a notification, receive notifications for events on this calendar, you can have it send you an email 10 minutes before that, an email or put a notification up. You can set the time, and you can say so many hours, so many days, or so many weeks before an event. so you can put reminders, and they will send it either as a notification to you, or it can send you an email. All-day event notifications, you can also do that, and you can set a certain time for it. And now you can have other notifications, new events. You can have it either an email, you can have it sent you. If a new event is added to a calendar, you can tell it to send you an email. Changed events, canceled events, event responses, and daily agenda. And again, you can have that emailed or not. Now, to integrate the calendar, you can have a calendar ID and have that. You can have a public URL. So here is the link to that calendar that I could just post somewhere, and anyone could look at it. And here is the embed code that I would give to Marshall to put on the website. And you can customize that. And so you'd have to go in and make some changes. I'm not quite sure how you do that. I have not done that. And let's see, can I get back to where I was? Yeah. And then public access and iCal format. I don't, again, it's not something I work with, but iCal is the information that you'll see it in the invitations for Zoom meetings. If you want to add something to your calendar, you can do so using the iCal format. And I'm not sure exactly what this would do, but it gives you the availability to do it. And then you can remove a calendar, you can unsubscribe to it, or you can, if it's one that you have access, you can just delete it. So that's where the settings are. You go to the calendar first, and then go to the gear setting at the top of the calendar and get into those settings. And again, that's how you would share with specific people. Now, if they have a Google Calendar and you want to be able to view that, you have to let them know to share with you. And you make sure that it's the email address that you want to have that shared with. Okay, is that clear as mud? It's not difficult, it's confusing. But you got to play with it, that's all. The more you play with it, the better off and the easier that it is. Now, let's see. I've got some articles here, and let's see which one. There was one on Google Tips. Yeah, this one. I think this is the one that I'm going to put all of these links in the chat box at once a little bit later, but let's go ahead and share, and let's close this. Here is an article, and again, I'm going to give you the link to this, but let me, let's see, click this, get a lot of the ads out of there and junk, and make it bigger. This is how to share your Google Calendar with someone who doesn't have a Google account. So you can even share those calendars with somebody that doesn't have a Google account. And this is the guy defining the URL to your Google Calendar .ics to use in your iPhone calendar app, for instance. The Google Calendar is a popular cloud-based calendar app, but if you want to share your Google Calendar with someone who doesn't have a Google account, Google doesn't make it easy. It's possible to share your Google Calendar to someone using the iPhone calendar app. However, you just need to know how to find the URL to the ICS file. And I think I just showed you how to do that. And then how to, the iCalendar format is used by Google Calendar, is used by many calendar applications, making them compatible with each other. Subscribing to a calendar in the Apple Calendar app to follow updates is easy if you have the URL to a public.ics file. This is readily available in Google Calendar, but it's not found in what I would call an intuitive location. And so they're walking us through that. And that's basically what I just showed you. You go to the Google Calendar, go to the address bar, find, I can't put my mouse over it when I do it, kind of grays things out, but you can see it's got a little red mark around it. You go to that gear, which is the settings in your calendar, and then click on settings. Remember, that's what I did. And then look under settings for my calendar heading in the sidebar and click the specific calendar you want the URL for. So settings for my calendars on the left, you'll see it's in red. Then find the checkbox marked Make Available to Public and make sure it's ticked. Clicking it if it isn't. This is required in order to share your Google Calendar with someone who doesn't have a Google account. Click Integrate Calendar in the sidebar. And on the Integrate Calendar screen, you'll find a box labeled Public, Address, and iCal format. Copy that. And they've filtered out a little bit so you can't copy that address. And you'll also see a secret address in iCal format here, and you can use that address to integrate your own calendars into other apps, but you should never give this address to another person. With this URL copied, you need only to send it to the person you want to share it with in any way they can easily access from their iPhone or whatever device they're using. If they use the iPhone Mail app, this person recommends emailing it to them and opening the URL in Mail makes it easy to subscribe to the calendar app. But you can also use an instant messaging app. Okay, let's see what else is on here. And that's pretty much it for how to do that. So it can be done so you can connect to a person who doesn't have a Gmail account or Google account. Questions, comments? So that's what I showed you. And then there's an article to go along with that. And again, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and I'll put them in the chat box now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles. Copy it, and I'm going to put it in the chat box and hit enter. And now in your chat box, hopefully, there should be at the bottom of the chat box, should be 3 little dots. And if you look at that, click on the 3 little dots at the bottom, let's see, at the top of it, it says Save Chat. And it'll save a file, just know where it's saving it to. And let's see, I'm going to click it. And I presume it saved it. And I think it saves it to, and let me see for sure, a folder. That's PC, probably in Documents. And if you go all the way down, I got a lot of in Documents, but if I go to Zoom, it's got today's date and Google Calendar Class. And if I open that, bingo, there's this meeting save chat. And when I open it, it's in text form. But if I copy that to say Word, those links will automatically become links, or you might have to click at the end of each one, or you can just copy it and then paste it into your browser. So that's how you can save those links that I just put in the chat box. Questions, comments? Or is it just that you're doing it? Anyone having a problem with it? Do you see the chat box, or anyone that can't see the chat box?
Can
Good.
you tell us again? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Can you tell us again? You went to your documents and then what file folder was it in?
Zoom. All the way down at the bottom before any files are there. There should be a
Oh.
Zoom folder. It automatically made a folder. If it
Cool.
wasn't there, if you click that folder, you'll see that today's date and the meeting. And now it only collects what's already in the Zoom box since you joined. If I add anything more, you're not going to have it. You're going to have to go back and do it again, and I think it overwrites what you had. If you join late and there's already things that were on in the chat, you won't see them.
And how do we switch it to a Word document to make the links?
Just do a Control A for all to highlight all of it. Do a Control C to copy, open up a Word document, and just do a Control V or left mouse click to paste and paste it in.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, let me look at my notes of some of the other things I was going to cover. Embed codes. Okay, so all of those. So let's take the first article in that list that I just gave you. Let me get that, because I think this is a good article to have in your, save it somewhere. If nowhere else, put it in that same Zoom folder so you know where it was. But it's going to be this address. It's writeinbox.com, and it's a blog on Google Calendar Guide. And I looked at this, and this looks like it's a pretty thorough and good. Here's the table of contents for it. Let me make it that bigger. How to get started, a guide to your Google Calendar. What is Google Calendar and why should I use it? Have a glimpse at the Google Calendar Guide and its features. Here's a list of the must-have add-ons and extensions as per the Google Calendar Guide. Guide to the new Google Workspace. Keyboard shortcuts for the calendar. Bonus tip, drag a shared inbox integration, and some final words. I'm not going to cover all of this. I could make this a whole class and we could just use this as the basis. But, Google Calendar is a calendar app that you can access on your computer, your phone, your tablet. That's the other thing I want to show you. I want to show you Google Calendar, by the way, on my phone. I'm going to do that next. It's not just for keeping track of appointments. It helps manage your entire life by giving you information about flights or restaurant reservations and so on. Plus, it's easy to use. It's just as straightforward as the other G Suite apps as Google Sheets, Gmail, and Docs. We all know that the best way to manage your time is with Google Calendar. And you can share with friends and coworkers. And we've been talking about that. And another perk of the calendar is you can set different permissions for each. And if you want to keep peace with your employees, this is in the work environment, we recommend creating a schedule that everyone can see. You can even grant them permission to change or create events. And it can sync with your mobile Google app, and you can get scheduled reminders. Let's take a pause from here. And let's see, I'm still sharing my, was I sharing my screen on that? I didn't share my screen on that, nuts. All right, share. And I was afraid of that. Let's see, that was here. I was going through this article. I was just reading it to you. So I basically was reading the top of that article. And so what I do want to do is I'm going to leave the share on. And now what I want to do is come down here And I'm using an app in Windows called Phone Link, and you'll see my Android phone. And I'm going to do that. Let's see. I am going to close that for a moment and sign in. I don't want you to see my sign in. Okay, now I can do this. Okay, so there's my Galaxy S22 Ultra. I'll move it over here to the center so you can see it a little bit better. If I go to my Google Calendar, which I have down here, and click on it, there's my calendar. I have the black background, and I don't really like that. So let's see if I can go and I'm not sure if I can remember how to change that. Well, no, so that's my calendar. But let me do something different here. Oh, right here. Let's come to the Chrome browser. And we're going to go to hewie.net/test calendar. And why didn't it go? There we go. No, should have just gone to it. Well, all right. I got to put it up here. There we go. See, I don't know everything. Okay, so there's the calendar on my phone going to the website. Now, it's not easy. Whoops. Notice, well, I did that by mistake quickly before I said anything, but I can scroll across. Okay, I guess. Well, I may have to do it manually. I can scroll across and see the whole calendar, but if I turn it sideways, it changes the look of it. So now I've got more of the, whoops, what did I do? What I hit? There we go. You can see almost the whole week. Let's see. These things are so sensitive. Come back over here. There we go. So looking at it on my phone, if I wanted to look at one of the events and click on it, I guess I have to touch it. No. Thought I could do the same thing. And I thought I tested this, so I'm not sure why it's not doing it, but you can see that you can do pretty much the same thing on your phone as you can on the desktop with these calendars. Right now, for whatever reason, it's not working. That's because I'm trying to show you what to do with it. It could be I got so many things open here. These things do get away from you sometimes. No, it's not doing it, but it should have. Okay, but you can see on the phone, you get all the same information is there from the website. And then you can also look, let's move it back this way. And I'm going to go back here and go back to my calendar. Those all go to my calendar. And you can see that that's my personal calendar and it's all there. And let's see, June, May, June, July, here's today. And when I double click it, it comes up and it gives me everything for the day. And if I click that, it shows me the information. So on my phone, I can get the same information that I have in my calendar, even on a small device. Comments, questions? Clear as mud again. Okay, let me look in the chat
Oh.
box. Go ahead.
If you wanted to change your background, that on your phone, that was in
Yeah.
settings, general, and theme.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through all of that just to demonstrate, but yeah, I don't know why I made it dark, because I don't like the dark mode because it is hard for me to read and hard to share. Okay, so let's see what the questions are here. Someone says, I use a Samsung Galaxy 10, last update May 31st. So although what I'm talking about should be working fine, the calendar should work fine on a Galaxy 10. I had a Galaxy 8 up until a couple of months ago, and all of these things worked fine on it. Drew asked for Windows in Chrome or Edge, Firefox, the keyboard shortcut, Control F5, it does the reload. Okay, thank you. Now, Margaret or Jean asked, my questions are: one, text message using Google Voice. Should mention that I use Google's Chrome browser and I use Google Email, Calendar, Admin, and so on. I use Google Voice. It says it's Google Voice, but this version on my phone is not good as the prior version in capturing what I say. I want to confirm that I'm on the best or correct Google Voice app. Well, I don't use an app for my Google Voice. I have a phone hooked to something it's called, it was called an OB High device. And let me share my screen.
Does anybody have Google? Because I'm not going to switch devices. I'm going to stay on Google. I'm going to stay on Samsung. Does anybody have any suggestions about, is there a better voice? I mean, in other words, when I do a text message, I have the ability to type text through Samsung or hit Google Voice, and it will type out my message. In fact, it just did.
Okay.
So my point is there a better version of voice as an app on a Samsung?
My phone has got a scam on it. So
Okay.
I use Google Voice heavily. I have a main number here in the house using Google Voice, and I have it on my phone.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, I have it on my computer, and I can use it directly from my computer.
Right. And it types for you while you talk the message. Yes.
Well, I haven't done that, but yeah. But again, let me share my screen.
But see, that's what I do. I use it. I dictate to it. So it was doing very well before, but I found when I made an app change, and it might have been a Samsung release, all of a sudden I seemed to lose some of it seemed like my Google Voice got worse, not better.
Yeah, I don't use Google Voice that way, so I can't. I don't know. Does anyone else use Google Voice?
Okay, now that is my problem. How about the one thing that I think everybody should be doing is syncing their calendar to their PC or their iPad. So their phone calendar and their PC, iPad calendar should sync. I used to have I have Google Calendar, again, on my phone, on my PCs, and I use Google Chrome, but I'm not getting the syncing done. Is there something in the phone where there's a feature I have to turn on that I'm not turning on?
Somebody started to give an answer, I thought.
Are you talking about synchronizing your browser tabs or your bookmarks?
More like my calendar dates. And if I put an appointment in when I use my phone, it's not showing up on my main calendar. I have to go back and retype it on the main calendar. They're not talking to one another.
Oh,
It should.
I know.
Do you have multiple
Yeah.
calendars on your phone?
Now that could be the case. I have multiple accounts and I could
Yeah.
be on like one of my accounts doesn't have my main calendar. And that is like if I'm on a Siesta Key Association account. So based on that, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just not on, when I'm doing the entry, I'm on the wrong main Gmail account. I'll have to check that. Okay.
That's what I would guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
good point. Good point. Okay, I do find, like, for example, with pictures, I have to have both Google Pictures and Samsung Pictures. It seems like my Google Pictures don't catch up as fast as my Samsungs catch up with.
Yeah, I have that problem too. Sometimes I have to do it manually. You do have to, I've got it. I usually have to come home and have it on my Wi-Fi, and then it will go up to my
Okay.
Google Photos. Sometimes I have to just double check, but
Right.
Yeah, that's a setting that you can change on your phone, whether you want it to synchronize your photos over cellular data or Wi-Fi only.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think what happens though, as I've said, I think mine's broader. It says do the digital transfers, when I'm in a Wi-Fi range. So I think I've got that setting. So you're right. Pretty sure I have that set. And that's also to make sure I don't get an operating system in the middle of my day on the phone, in the car.
yeah, and that's so that pictures are fairly large,
Yes, sir.
and you don't want to use all that data uploading them.
Right. And then the last question I had, when I look at my Samsung phone storage, I see that I have a file that says trash. It has like 46 meg in it. So is there a way I can get to that? And I can plug my phone into my computer and maybe go treat it as a file and delete what's in it. But I was curious if there was a way on the phone to delete clean your trash out.
I'm sure there is. Of course, this is
Well, on your Samsung phone, if you load the program called My Files,
Okay.
and if you scroll down to the very bottom, there's a trash icon.
Okay.
And then you can go in there and say that you want to delete your trash.
Right. So
Or
I
empty
don't
the
have,
trash.
that's great. So My Files, it's just an app that I can get from the App Store, right?
No, it comes with your Samsung phone.
Shoot. Okay. I probably didn't even know I had it.
okay.
Okay.
So you come here, and I'm going to open up the phone. This would be the same on any Android, and I got to sign in again. Oh, the My File. Okay, and I'm not sure where I have that. Well, if all fails, you type in My
There you
File.
go.
Yeah. And then you go to internal storage, correct?
Just scroll all the way to the bottom.
Trash.
I must have deleted it because they are deleted now. So I must have done it. That worked. And I did have My Files on my machine. I didn't realize that it's not one I had on one of my screens. So I'll bring that over.
Yeah, so that's My Files is a good one because that's your Windows Explorer. That's your file management program.
Right. For what's on my phone, which is lovely. Thanks.
Yeah. And that's all Androids are that way. Okay, I hope I answered a few questions for some of you. Take a look at those articles that I put the links in. Unless anyone has any more questions.
Hewie and Drew, thank you very much. I appreciated the feedback
All right, glad to help.
and the training.
Yeah, thank you, Hewie.
Yeah, I hope you play with Google. If you're not using Google Calendars, play with it. It doesn't hurt anything. Until you start relying on it, then you got to be careful you don't lose it. But you'll find that it is handy. And Marshall, you can see if we decide to do it, how easy. All you've got to do is set up a page called Calendar, and I think you may even have one.
Actually, the only thing that's gonna be required is for Dave to have a link. And when
Yeah,
he updates it, he sends it to the link, and that's the end of that.
yeah. Yeah, once the link's there, you have no part in it. It's all automatic.
Well, and then the people,
So Dave, any questions on it, or
well, the members can subscribe to the calendar then. They have to do that.
they can do that as well if they want. But if they don't want to do that, they can just go to the website and look it up as well.
Yeah.
Right. But by giving them a note, they can have options to try them out.
Yeah. That's if we decide to do it. And when we do, we'll let everyone know and make some instructions and so on. But it shouldn't be, it's not rocket science, and it shouldn't be difficult to set up and to convey what we're doing and how to do it. As that's if we decide, and it may be in addition to what we're doing now, and it may be instead of, I don't know.
What
All
I do
right.
know is I've talked to a couple of people, and in our case, they like the ability to go in and to print the entire month of activities, which is updated every month.
Yeah, the only problem is, as I said, and it's a drawback, is there is the problem that it doesn't all fit in the block. And a lot of times, if you've got a lot of things in that block, it may say 6 more or 3 more. So it doesn't list all of them. So that's where you want to use the agenda format as well. And I did find a program that will take that calendar and you can copy and paste it and then edit it with Word if you want. But it's additional work. But that's what in one of the groups that I belong to create a calendar for the group and then print it out and hand it out. That's what we did. We used a program. It went in and it automatically grabbed the Google Calendar, brought it into Word, and made it so you could change the font, made it so it would all fit.
Well,
Sometimes you'd have to retype things, but
That's essentially what we're doing now.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
in my group up in Boston, we are actually testing the same calendar integration with your website that you're testing out with STUG. We've got people in the group, our board members are now subscribed to a central Google Calendar, and we have it on our website integrated in. So we're in the same boat that you guys are in, or we're all in terms of sharing calendars.
Good. That's interesting to know. And I guess my mind and our minds work alike. So that's good. I guess it's good. Yes.
I thought, 15 minutes ago, you said there were a couple more things you were going to show us. And they sounded interesting to me, but now I don't remember any ones in particular.
Well, if you remember, I added the links to some articles and put those in the chat box. So if
You
you
only did
say,
that once, right?
right, but there's 5 articles in there.
Okay, because I did save that.
Yeah, there's 5 articles in there.
Okay, all right, that's probably.
And the
what it is
article,
then.
and just to go through the titles quickly, is the Ultimate Google Calendar Guide for 2022, How to Share Your Google Calendar with Someone Who Doesn't Have a Google Account, 12 Useful Tips for Using Google Calendar on Android, Google Calendar, 9 Tips and Tricks for Easy Scheduling, and 20 Ways to Use Google Calendar to Maximize Your Day in 2022. Now, some of these articles deal with businesses and using the calendar to reserve rooms and to set up schedules for people and so on. Those you probably won't be interested in. I know I'm not. Unless you're-
That did jog my memory. You were talking about travel. And I know there's times that my Google will see that I've booked some flights and it'll send me reminders of those flights. Is that tied into my calendar? Or is that part of my Google Assistant?
I'm not sure. I'm not,
Okay.
I'd have to look and see. It could be the
Oh.
airline software or however you book the flight is doing it. And it may be, they may have given you an ICS file that added to any calendar that you have, depending upon what calendar you use, because it could be you could have an Outlook calendar, you could have a Google Calendar.
What's ICS?
It's a type of file with the information from a calendar.
Oh, okay. That's probably what it is. Okay.
I don't remember what the ICS stands for. All right,
Howie, just one quick question.
sure.
In the chat box, it's easy to kind of scroll through your things and pick them up and paste, but is that the most efficient way to do it?
No, go to the three little dots at the bottom,
Yes, sir.
click on that, and at the top, it'll say Save Chat.
I see, save chat, thank you.
And then when it saves it, it's going to save it in your Documents folder under a folder called Zoom. So it'll be way down at the bottom.
Okay,
And then in that, it'll have the date and the name of the meeting.
yes, I
it'll
see,
be in
thank
there.
you. Yep, I saw it. Thank you. I knew there
Okay.
had to be an easier way.
Okay, I've had the recording on, so this will be recorded. So if you want to go back through it, and for those who missed, you're watching it, and I will have the links to the articles in the show notes on YouTube as well. I'll get those up in a few days. Thank you for joining, and I hope it was time worthwhile for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you very much.